basketball fans, welcome back. So there are two games that happened. So we had Petro de Luanda versus the US Monastir. Then we had Creole Star versus Ville de Dakar. So in this one, I'll be focusing on Petro de Luanda versus the US Monastir. And this was a very good game. So there was that curse that Petro de Luanda had. They have never been able to beat US Monastir. But in this one, they were able to. The final score was 78-68. Let's just talk about this. So I was very excited to see Petro de Luanda win this game. And this one has put them right up there in them just coming back. Right? They have a 2-2 record right now. And also USM have a 2-2 record because Petro de Luanda, things were not looking good. After that blow when they had against Creole Star, they lost to USM and they lost to AS Ville de Dakar. So to kick-start their wins in the second half of the games in the Sahara Conference, they've started off huge with that win against USM. And it was something that a lot of people started talking, and they said, there was a tough situation that Petro de Luanda had. They're not able to beat USM and throughout BAL history, but they're able to break that whole thing. So full credit to how USM played. I mean, they came out, but, they lost this game by 10 points. So shooting-wise, both teams shot at a similar clip. You could see Petro de Luanda, they shot 44% from the field, and USM had 45% from the field. But looking at how the flow of the game was, I feel like this game was not as competitive. It was not as eventful as Ville de Dakar versus Creole Star, which I'm going to mention in the next video that I'm going to make. But in this one, Petro de Luanda were able to slay the beast. And shooting-wise, from downtown, both teams made 7 threes each. So I've been keen on checking out the 3-point percentages for these teams. And Petro de Luanda had the worst. I saw out of 23 attempts, they only made 7 of them. So they're attempting too many threes and can't make it. And USM, 17 out of the 17, the 3 attempts, only 7 winning. So this was very concerning. I expected at least USM to be able to pick up, and be very efficient when it comes to shooting their 3. And they did, because in previous videos, you've seen them be very consistent. Petro de Luanda, I'm not sure how they can get that 3-point productivity. But both teams at the line, they were very good at the line. You could see Petro de Luanda, they went to the line 16 times and they, were 81%. And USM, 19 free throw attempts, only 13 went in. So this was very decent. And assists, steals, blocks went to Petro de Luanda. This was a game that they needed to go out there and put their best foot forward. So Mendoza from Petro de Luanda, he had 21 points, leading in scoring from both teams. Patrick Ghana, he had 19, and Solo Diabate with 14. So I was very excited to see Mendoza playing well, and he's been kind of quiet in the first 3 games, but in this one he led in points, rebounds, and assists. He had 21 points, 11 boards, and 4 assists. So he led the charge for Petro. Chiledanda was there with his quiet 3 assists. Yannick Moreira, 7 boards, and it's something that I saw it was needed, and we needed an outburst, because since they won the championship, I don't know, Petro de Luanda, even as they entered into the Sahara Conference and they started, you could see they won that game against Creole Star, which was great. But then the next 2 games against, Ville de Dakar and US Monastir, they really, really struggled. And that's something that was very concerning. But on the other side, you could see USM, despite the loss, we had Patrick Hardy Jr., he had 16 points. Filas Layani, he was there with his 9 boards. And Ramdan Slimane, he was very quiet with his 13 points. Medisai, he had 11. And Dengakoth, he had 5 boards. So this game was epic. I really liked the whole, the way the flow of this game was. I mean, it was kind of predictable, because when this game started, you could see Petro de Luanda and USM, they were shooting the ball and scoring at a similar clip. They had 16 points apiece. Then in the second quarter, you could see USM recorded a a game high 21 points. And looking at Petro, they had 14. And this is it was just a seesaw. But in the second half, that is where the game was decided. And that strong 28-point fourth quarter delivered by Petro de Luanda was the difference. And that's the reason as to why they were able to win this game. And Petro, even with them winning this game, they led in assists, steals, points from turnovers, fast break points, second chance points, and bench points. So, and they also reduced their turnovers. They only had 11 turnovers to USM's 21. So normally if a team averages 21 turnovers like that, winning the basketball game just keeps getting harder and harder to win the basketball game. But I was very happy to see Petro win this. And I can say it was something that they needed to do and to keep their BAL hopes alive, because had they lost this game, it will be very, very difficult. And considering the fact that not every team is able to qualify like that, it's only the first two teams, and the best third place team is going to qualify. The number one and number two teams, they need to have very good performances and very good records, especially in point differential and records, so they can be able to proceed. Petro, they were sitting at the number 3 spot. And with this win, I'm not sure how it changes, but anything can happen in this conference. It's only 6 games, and the team that has, even if there's a tie record, but they have a very good point differential able to go through. And with Petro, I was very happy when they started off very strong, beating Creole Star. I don't know what's up with the Ville de Dakar team not being able to beat Creole Star. They've lost twice to Creole Star. So there's a high likelihood that Creole Star is just getting up in the mix. I felt like Creole Star were on the verge of missing it. And by far, this must be the most difficult conference, because the Kalahari conference, I can say, was like somewhat of a snooze fest, because Stade Malien and MPESA Rabat were not posing any threat. And the teams that were shooing to go ahead and qualify for the BAL playoffs at the Kalahari conference was Al Ittihad and River Hoopers. But this one, anything can happen. The favorites in this Sahara conference are Ville de Dakar and Petro de Luanda as the defending champions. I'm not saying US Monastir and Creole Star can't make it, but they have to fight for it. And there's a high likelihood that teams in this Sahara conference will have a tie record, and the deciding factor will be the point differential, something that I feel like can make or break a team. And USM season 3, they didn't make the playoffs because they didn't have a good point differential, even despite having 3 wins and 2 losses. And this is something that I know a lot of teams are looking at, and Petro de Luanda and US Monastir are just there with a 2-2 record, and things are just going to get tough as we continue. So I'll be talking about the Creole Star versus Ville de Dakar game that went to overtime. That game was epic. I was watching this game, and I watched both games, but my eyes were glued to that Ville de Dakar versus Creole Star matchup, which I'm going to cover in the next video. So stay tuned to that. So if you guys like the video, make sure you leave your feedback down in the comments on what you think about this. I'm going to talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.